take a silent roll call. Agenda item number 1, review, discussion, and possible action to approve the May 6, 2025 minutes of the meeting of the Utilities Community Facilities District, Carefree Water Company. Are there any comments or questions about the minutes? So hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the May 6th meeting minutes.
I'll second it. Oh, sorry.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 6th.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passed unanimously, thank you. Item number 2, review, discussion, and possible action on Resolution 2025-02, adopting the final fiscal year 25-26 Carefree UCFD budget and the final fiscal year 25-26 Carefree Water Company budget, including rates, fees, deposits, and charges. Mr. Crossman.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. Agenda item number 2 is for your consideration the final adoption of the budgets for both the UCFD and the water company for fiscal year 2025-26. The water company's budget does include our rates, fees, deposits, and charges, and you will be adopting or being asked to adopt these final budgets via resolution 2025-02. Just to give you a quick refresher on our budgeting process, about a month ago, on May 6th, you were given detailed presentations on our 2 budgets for the UCFD and the water company. You were asked to approve both of those proposed or preliminary budgets, and you did do that. You also voted to hold a public hearing. That public hearing was open to the public for comments from our customers and the public in general. No public comments were received. And so that brings us to tonight, June 3rd, where you're being asked to adopt the final budget for the UCFD and the water company, again via resolution 2025-02. There have been no changes to the budget that were presented to you, or the budgets that were presented to you at the May 6th meeting. So just to give you a brief summary of those budgets, and then we'll go to the resolution. The UCFD budget for 25-26 is $4.7 million. It does focus on our debt repayment, which the biggest portion of our debt repayment is the Series 2021 bonds to the tune of $1.1 million per year. It also includes 2 capital improvement projects, the Peaceful Place Booster Pump Station Improvement Project and the Silver Saddle Pipeline Improvement Project. The water company budget is a $5.2 million budget. The rate increase recommended for this coming fiscal year is 4.4% across the board. That is consistent with our 5-year rate plan that was approved in 2021. This is the last year of the 5-year rate plan. And the revenue increase due to that 4.4% increase is about $200,000 in this coming fiscal year. So with that, that's a summary of our budget. I'd open it up to any questions that the board might have. And following that, I have a possible motion to approve resolution 2025-02 on the screen.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, Greg. Comments or questions from the council? Councilman Roth?
Yeah, on our beginning balance is $2,037,460. And our ending is $37,460. So how are we funding next year's debt service? Because it is the biggest part, and you're showing revenues of $1,781,224. So it doesn't leave, or will you have to borrow money from the town?
Mr. Chairman, Board Member Roth, the debt service is included in that dollar figure.
No, I see that. I'm just
Yes.
saying we're starting with $2 million in the bank.
Correct.
And we have all our revenues, but we're ending with 37,000. So we started this year $2 million ahead of where we're at. So going into next year, Where,
The
where's the 2
revenues
million?
that
Are we
pay our
making
our
it
debt
up?
service get transferred over from the water company. The water company is the revenue generator. These are revenue bonds.
Yeah.
So the revenue comes from our sale of water. That gets generated every year. Next year's budget will essentially start with a very low balance because of the capital projects. That $2 million is primarily money that's in the bank for the capital projects. The budget next year will show an infusion primarily of debt service money to the tune of about $1.4 million, with an expenditure of about $1.4 million, and we'll leave our balance. So we'll start with a fairly low balance at the beginning of the year for the UCFD. We'll end with a fairly low balance at the end of the year. That's basically how we've operated the UCFD prior to the water consolidation project. That's pretty much how the UCFD operated, with the water company being the primary driver of revenues. And as necessary, those revenues go into the UCFD to pay the debts that the UCFD needs to accomplish, or the debt payments that the UCFD needs to accomplish.
So basically, we have really two different budgets here. There's the UCFD budget, and then there's the water company budget. And so the UCFD is the structure that we bought the water company in, and that's the structure that basically issued the debt. The water, you have to look at the water company budget and then bring them together to see where the revenues are coming from.
That's
And
what I'm
they're-
looking
they're-
at.
It's pretty, actually, I will admit, it is, because you have these two entities, it's a little bit confusing.
But it's,
Complicated.
what I'm looking at down the road, in, starting in 2030, your annual debt service is gonna be $1,369,900. So you're going up by 36%.
Wait a minute.
No,
Where did you see
that's-
that?
I'm getting it
Mr.
off the schedule. I'm looking at what was supplied.
Mr. Chairman,
says-
Board Member Roth,
Yeah,
well,
2030
we've
to
structured our
34.
debt so that it stays consistent for the next 20 years at about $1.4 million.
Because
we-
we're on
we
the
will be-
cheap side now.
We will be retiring the WIFA loan
that's
here
a
in
difference.
2026-27. When that happens, we'll start repaying the town additional funds. The Series 2021 bonds stay fairly constant at $1.1 million per year. And then at a certain point, about 20 years into the future, 15 years in the future, we'll pay off the town. And then it will go down to $1.1 million. So we have structured all of our debt so that it is fairly consistent over the next 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, but starting in 2030, it goes to, between principal and interest, you're looking at 1,369,900. So that's, right now, we're talking about $1 million. So it's a significant jump where your cash flow is $1,781,224.
This year's debt repayment, when you add in, we've got 3 debt repayments. We've got the Series 2021 bond, we've got the WIFA loan to the town, and we've got the capital lease town repayment is $1.4 million. So it's going to stay fairly consistent at $1.4 million for the next 15 to 20 years.
I'm just concerned about us being able to, since we own the water company, we own the debt. So,
Okay, sure.
but thank you.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Any other comments or questions? So hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2025-02, adopting the final fiscal year 25-26 budgets for UCFD and Water Company, including rates, fees, deposits, and charges.
Motion to approve Resolution 2025-02, adopting the final fiscal year 25-26 Carefree UCFD budget and the final fiscal year 25-26 Carefree Water Company budget, including rates, fees, deposits, and charges.
Second.
Okay, a second. Any other comments or questions before we vote? So hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you. Next item, adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously, thank you.
Thank you.